So this is a question asked by Oink Oink, who is a very loyal subscriber to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. Now, Oink Oink asked me about advanced harmonies. How do I create sort of lush, rich harmonies? Well, thank you very much for calling them lush and rich, first of all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the processes by how I would go about this using just the chords C and F on GarageBand. So I'm going to make an 8-bar loop and I'm going to record 4 groups of 2 bars, and I'm going to start with the sort of basic chords, then I'm going to talk my way through the other 2 bars, and I'm going to use my violin on this, but I'll also cover vocals as well. So keyboard, I'm just going to literally just get drummer up here, get myself a very quick beat. There we go. I'm just going to make it sort of soft and simple, and I'm also going to take the tempo down slightly. Let's try 88 or something. I'll need my headphones as well to listen to the GarageBand on. The only reason the headphones are coming from somewhere else is because I'm recording the presentation on some recording equipment, including the mic you're hearing this on. That'll do me. Okay, so I'm just going to stick down a quick bass part. And I'm going to use the smart bass and the smart piano as well, so that you can see how quickly you can get a backing track down. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to record 2 bars of bass, then loop that. Okay. So I'll just make sure that's looped. There we go. And just, that's all quantized because it's generated by the iPad. So I'm just going to go to keyboard and do the same thing. I'm just going to okay. Notice that I have to jab the new chord just before I want it to happen so that it catches the rhythm correctly there. Okay, so I'm going to loop that as well. There we go. Now, just to keep things a little bit more sort of as I'd like them in terms of octaves, I'm going to select all, and I'm actually going to bring things down an octave. And I'm actually going to take also those C's so I've got a nice low register with the bass and the keyboard sort of. Imagine this. No. Okay, so here we go then. I'm going to now play some parts. Now, to set this up, I'm just going to get some audio tracks, and I'm actually going to put all 3 tracks that I'm going to record in one place, just so that I've got everything set up before I begin the presentation. So, I'll add another one of those. I go to Nice Room, Fun and Clean, and then, now that's the fun, clean bit, that sort of instrument setting. That is just to get no processing at all, so what you record is what you hear back. And I'm using the internal mic of the iPad as well here. I'm not using any other mic. I'm just going to do it with the iPad so that you can also hear the sort of results that you can get from just the mic. Okay, so there's my 3 channels. I'm going to record 3 harmony parts. Now, I'm going to play the violin first. I'm going to start by recording this. So they are simply the basic chords of C major and F major. So C has an C, E and a G. F major has an F, A and a C. So those 3 notes I'm going to play. Now I'm going to do what's called inversions. I'm going to take the first chord and actually put the C at the top. so that my inversions are nice and close together. It's quite important to get this in place, because if you got sort of this, it can be doing this a bit. You kind of don't want that. If you were to boil J.S. Bach theory down into a single sentence or a single action, it would be that stuff has to do this, not that. I hope that makes sense. I hope I haven't annoyed too many Bach scholars by saying that. But essentially, you want your harmonies to be moving in and out. You want the harmony to be the jam in your two pieces of bread. So the one piece of bread's your bass line, one piece of bread's the melody line. It'd be pretty boring if you had a sandwich with nothing in the middle. So you stick your chords in the middle, but the chords have got to stick it all together so it doesn't fall to pieces. Another shaky analogy there. So I'm going to record the top part first on this. I'm also recording in quite a present room, so you can hear how the mic can pick up some nice ambience as well as the direct signal. We don't always want completely dead sounds in our studios. Just going to record that again. Notice I brought that chord off just before the end of that section, because I'm actually going to record 4 different things and I'm going to play them in line at the end so you can hear the difference between them. So here comes the next part. And then the final part, and then I'm going to play them back just so that you can hear those chords essentially on the piano but reproduced on the violin instead. Now, there are the 3 parts together now. Let's just hear those. Okay. Quite happy with that actually, as it happens. Now, the next part that I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly talk through those chords. I had E, G and C, and F, A and C. So my C stayed the same for both of those parts, which helped glue the other bits of harmony together. If I'd done this, it's a bit disjointed. That makes it a bit more subtle, it makes a bit more sense in terms of the direction. So I'm now going to play with inversions for the next 2-bar section that I'm going to do. So I'm going to do this. So I've now combined the simplicity of just the basic chords with some rhythmic sort of interest. With a little staccato. As well, so I'm playing to the strengths of the violin's capability. So, top part first. Just going to do that again because it's a bit scrappy. Okay, that will do me. Always never accept anything. Oh, actually, accidentally recorded on the bottom track there. I'm just going to move it up to the top so that I've got the same parts. It's quite important to do that. If you accidentally record on the wrong track in GarageBand, it's okay. You can just shift that audio file up. So yes, never accept anything that you're really not happy with, because you can't hide it ultimately. So it's worth, even if it takes 10 goes to get that riff right, it's, you're going to be listening to it thousands of times after that. So 10 times for the sake of 1,000 times is worth it. So here comes the second part. Okay, and the bottom part, and then I'm going to listen to those together just to make sure that they work okay. goodness, happy with that. So I'm going to go back to the beginning now, and I'm going to play the basic chords, and then I'm going to play the rhythmic sort of, the rhythmic aspects to that. Okay, so there are 4 bars there with some simple rhythm and then more complicated sort of rhythm, but still keeping the same notes. So what I've done is I've just played with the inversions of that. And then I've gone to the F chord. So I've just turned the notes around in order to create some sort of melodic direction and some rhythmic interest. I'm still on those simple sort of triads, just the first, the third and the fifth of your chord. There's your C and F chord. Now I'm going to try something a bit different. Now, with any major chord, you could try adding the second note. It just makes that chord sound a bit more expensive. It's still C, but it's called C add 9. The reason it's called a ninth is because it's actually, you've got your first, your third, your fifth, and then you've added another note. You can have something called C sus2, which is virtually the same, but this time you've taken away the third. Like that. So you could have something like that, which generates rhythmic interest and harmonic possibilities. So, there we go. You can also try adding the sixth. Or both of them. However, I've only got 3 tracks here. So, but I've got 5 notes to play with. You think, well, what am I going to do? The answer is you don't have to add both of them. You don't have to add both of those notes. However, you could also dispense with some notes now, because the bass note is doing this. You've got your root note in the bass, and it's actually in the piano as well. Why have it again in the strings? There's not really any need for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record this. I'm going to take the 5th note of my C, which is a G. Then I'm going to add the 6th, and then I'm going to add the 9th. So I've taken away the root and the 3rd. However, you could take away the 5th and use the 3rd instead. This is where you get lots and lots of different possibilities. In fact, the more notes you add, the more combinations you have. It's like the factorial in maths, isn't it? There's so many combinations of things that you can do. And don't sort of search for the right one or keep searching. Just try something that you think, oh yeah, I really like that. Don't forget also that we are playing to the song. If the vocals don't demand all this extra rich harmony, then perhaps don't do it. But if it's something like an intro section or an instrumental section where have got a bit more free rein, then perhaps that's the time. So I'm going to record some simple rhythms. I'm going to do the same rhythm as I did on the first 2 bars, but using richer harmony. So I'm going to use this, which is my 5th, 6th and 9th. And then for my F chord, I'm going to use the 9th, the 6th and the 5th. So I've actually only got 1 note different. Because of the number of combinations, it's more likely that you can keep parts the same. You've glued your bass line and your harmony line a bit more effectively now. In fact, I don't even need to change the first chord. In C, that is the 5th, 6th and 9th. In F, it's the 5th, 3rd and 6th. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to record the 1 chord over both of those lines. So let's find my track. And here we go. When you record one part, you think, oh, it didn't really sound right. It didn't sound the right note at all. Now the answer is it all starts to come out in the wash as you add notes. So I'm going to try that note now. So just put it to my right place. Counted me in 2 bars there, which I didn't need. Okay, and now my final part. Okay, now we're delving into sort of tricky waters here. I'm just going to have a listen to those. No, I like that. I think it's all right. It's off the beaten track, sure. And what you can also do is you could start adding maybe the 5th or the root. If you wanted a 4th part to tie that together, you could do something else which allows you to just to hark back to the basic chords. So maybe I could play the root note if I had a 4th part, which I've just set up here. So I'm going to try that. So I've just put the root note, I've put the C, and then the F. Don't know yet. It's all in context. I've just made a backing track and put these parts on. It depends if the vocal is going, once I saw you over there, yes I did. You've got to make sure that the strings are going to match that vocal line. So, however, my 4th part, the 4th section, I'm going to put some slightly more complicated rhythms in. I'm just going to do that. In fact, now I've written these bits down on the manuscript paper here, just to give myself a sort of a reference point, just so I can remember what I'm doing. I'm going to do a video about music reading as well. The answer is you don't need to worry too much. If your short-term memory will allow you to create those parts and to sing them, you can work them out without having written them down. But obviously if it's a longer bit of music, you might need to, to write stuff down. So I'm going to... Okay. I'm going to put these parts down now. Now I've written these down just by ear. Let's see what they sound like. So we've got combinations of 6ths and 9ths and all sorts. So my first chord is this. There's no C or G there at all. So my C chord, I've got my 6th and my 9th, which go over my bass chord. If I've got... There's my violin chord. So I've used the notes, the extra notes in the string parts, which saves you doing them in the piano parts or trying to work out a bass line that's more complicated. Bass, keyboards, drums should be really simple and just play for the song. And then ancillary bits and pieces like violins, because you can have them a bit lower in the mix, they just add a bit of a flavour rather than it sort of taking over. So I've got this. Now all I've done there, I've just taken the E and stuck it at the top instead. So that's what I've got here, and I'm going to explain my reasoning. So, Now, I did a ba, ba, just going to check that. So I made that third note, ba, 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 that one short. The reason I checked it is because I've got to make sure that all of my parts, all of my string parts have got the same rhythm so that the timing is really, really on it. Timing is really important. Okay, second part coming up. Okay, and third part. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to listen to this now and see what it sounds like. Okay, let's listen to the whole thing and just see how it gels together. Now, it's probably not going to, because I'm just literally showing the processes on this 8 bars, but you never know. Something might come of it. It's okay. There's some things that I would probably change in there, but the principles of this are that you can start working with string parts in this way, or it could be vocals. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some vocals down. Now, the processes here are quite a lot different, because if the harmonies aren't really parts of the chords, it's going to be harder to pitch that line. That's the only trouble with doing something like this, is that you might end up not being able to follow the vocal line. So this sort of, it depends on thinking in intervals, thinking of how distant the next note is going to be. La la is easy enough, but la la or la 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 la. So I'm going to try these same parts now, but I'm going to do them on the vocals. And this time I'm going to record all through. I'm not going to record it in 2-bar sections like I did with the strings. So I'm just going to record it as one complete sweep and see what happens. And I'm not going to include that 4th part. Actually, I will put the track down in case it needs it. So I've set my tracks up. Now this is great with GarageBand because you can just keep adding tracks. I mean, you've got 32 audio tracks. The instrument tracks take 2 tracks each. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm not even halfway yet. So it's mega capable. I'm going to mute all the string parts that I've just done. So I'm going to record literally just the vocal parts with the backing track. Okay, part 2. Part 3. La 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 la. And then I'm just going to stick in that extra part that I put in the strings, which I think was C to F. I'll just check that. La la. Oh, so I'll just record that part now. La, 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 la. Okay. Now one of the reasons why I recorded them all the way through is that you can then get sort of different inflections between the 4 sections that I recorded. You could even also sustain across those 2 bars. La, 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 la. So you can join those parts together and then combine your harmonic and rhythmic interest with that. Let's try sticking it with the strings and see what happens with that. So it's the same notes, but they are now, the vocals are an octave down. Okay. So, sorry, I stopped that in the middle there for some reason. Now, that's all well and good for majors, where you can add the 2nd and the 6th. You could add the 7th as well. That's harder to pitch with your vocals because it's right next to your root note. So, that's your major chords. Minor chords are slightly different in that you can play with adding extra notes. So if I've got C minor, which is C, E flat and G, try adding the 4th or the 2nd. That's dissonant now because we've got this. But you could try it anyway. You could try adding the flat and 7th. So you've got a B flat. If you put those together with your strings, you can get something really rich. And people are listening to your tunes going, thinking they're sort of drawn into the sort of the core of your song because of things like adding harmony parts. So I hope that helps answer the question.